What up, TikTok? Hey, hope everybody's having a great Friday. Hey, don't let anything that's negative in your life dictate the rest of your life. Does that make sense? Hey, we all go through some hard times. We all go through some emotional stressors, maybe at work, maybe at home, whatever it may be. Don't let that dictate who you are and how you react to the rest of the things that life throws at you. Does that make sense? Like if you're feeling pissed off and angry all morning or all day, you're going to take that energy and you're going to present it to everybody else that surrounds you, your loved ones, your soldiers, whoever it may be. You're going to use that negative energy and it's just going to make everything worse. Try to be positive. Pick something positive in life that's going really well. Use that positive energy and let that dictate the rest of your day. We can harp on the negatives. We can harp on the bad things that are going on in life. It's not going to help us. It's not going to help us move forward. Stay strong, keep pushing, drive on. Happy Friday.
What's up, Trash Talkers? Hitting you up this morning with a special promo on how to dress when you're doing PT in civilians, but you want everybody to know you're an Army. This comes from the Buddy Beckwith fashion design of how to work out. So first, you can notice the RI panties. Not Ranger panties, but Ranger Instructor panties. The green socks, the knee brace for the old guys. Don't forget the M frames. Now the shirt, don't wear the Trash Talk shirt while you're running. This is just for the promo. You want to put on like an 80-second shirt or like your favorite airborne shirt so everybody knows that you're a veteran. That's the most important thing. And you start with this stretch. Buddy Beckwith taught me this one. Ready to go.
So, I'm walking out of the gas station and my co-worker, who's an old MP, but we still claim him, and he has engaged the man in conversation. Not much for conversation with strangers, but he's got the tab. So, as I walk by, I say airborne, and the man responds with, and I quote, "Hoorah." So, after I instructed my coworker to slash every single tire before he put the car in gear, I looked for the biggest rock. As I crow hop to throw it through his back window so he can stop posing as one of us, I actually wake up and realize that the man's ignorance had incapacitated me for a moment, and I was daydreaming. I mean, because in that moment you got two options. I chose the third option and said, "Incorrect. That's an incorrect response." And I kept walking. The man said nothing and he pulled away. So you tell me, what is it, a stolen valor thing? No Marine's gonna have an airborne tab, and no paratrooper's gonna say hidden hoorah. So you tell me, stolen valor?
Hey, y'all, going to work. I left you a note on the refrigerator. I love y'all. I'm gonna go.
Hey, go get dressed. Get ready for school.
You're doing great. I was tooling around, tooling along. Shit! Bad guy! Stop!
Let me break it down Barney style.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, Joe, and Buddy. Today's special guest is Nick Powers, a Marine pogue who fell in love with how real Army warriors fight and started contracting.
Today's show is brought to you by the Farkas Group at the Veterans Mortgage Source. Are you looking for a team you can trust for your mortgage needs? The Farkas Group is our trusted partner on the podcast. I served with Zach, and he will definitely give you the best rate possible. Their goal is to educate veterans across the country on their earned VA home loan benefit. If you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, reach out to these guys. For competitive rates, or any information you may need on obtaining a VA mortgage for your property. They are licensed in multiple states. If they are not licensed in the state that you live in, they will still give you the advice that you need and the rates you should be looking for.
What's up, Trash Talkers? What's up, Gruntworks Nation? Hey, welcome. I think we're like on episode like 61 or 2. Dave does that shit. I don't remember what number we're on. I'm always just drinking. But hey, welcome to the Trash Talk Hour. We have an awesome show for you today. We have our guest, Nick Powers, with the dick duster under his nose right there. And then a special guest host with Lino. He was a guest on our show with the Combat Divers Foundation. Did I say that correct? Nope, he's muted. All right, perfect. And then,
How could you not have said it? Yes, it's the Combat Divers Association.
So one thing.
Because you're so unspecial forces.
One thing.
Say combat diver together.
One thing we have to talk about right at the start was Buddy got real triggered when I said, "Hey, we're going to have a Special Forces diver on." And Buddy goes, "I'm the Special Forces diver." He got really mad.
I believe he name called you and cussed, Nick. I believe he name called you and cussed.
Yeah, he was so triggered.
That means he loses the debate, right?
Yeah, he loses the debate because he no longer talked about anything pertinent to the discussion and just started insulting people. So that's
F words, and now the baby's upset.
That's extreme. Yeah, then Lino's kids started crying. You made Lino's kids start crying. Like everything went downhill, just like this introduction.
Lino is pissed. We look like a bunch of Keystone cops.
Basically be the
isolated.
Joe, show the logo. Show the logo.
Everybody.
Dumpster fire. Here we go. It's lit.
Hey guys, we're gonna have another basic ass white guy.
Buddy's on one.
Staff and CO on today, and Nick would have been like, "Wait, what? That's me. I'm the basic ass."
That's me. Hey,
I'm
I take a page out of Bill's book and waterboard myself till he stops.
Waterboard myself so he stops. Yeah, I'm just gonna drink. Keep going, buddy. I'm just gonna drink. No, hey, Joe showed you our shirt. That's our main logo right there. It's a dumpster fire. All right, you never know what this is gonna turn into, and we've already established the dumpster fire in the first minute. Anyways. We got a ton of sponsors, so I'm going to try to say them all. All right, we got the main one is Zach Farkas. You guys heard it. All right, with Veterans Mortgage Source. I served with Zach. I'm telling you right now, if you don't live in one of the states he works, he will still give you the advice and what you should look for. I trust him. He's been verified. So go check him out on our website, veterantrashtalk.com, and you'll see the link to Zach Farkas there. So talk to him about a loan if you want to refinance or any questions like that. He's going to give you free advice. And, if he works in the state, then obviously he's going to make some money off you because so people got to do to eat, right? We also got Happy Day Hemp, or Happy Place. I don't have to say it right till September, okay? CBD stuff, go check them out. Put in the code VTT25 off. All right, I love their muscle cream. It's freaking phenomenal. And then we got my favorite one, all right, 10th Mountain Whiskey. All right, so go to 10th Mountain Whiskey and put in that code VTT, the discount there. Hit a little hard last night there in UFC Pick'ems, so I switched to the vodka this morning. This morning, is that a problem if I say that? This morning I'm drinking vodka. Don't judge me, buddy. He's probably frozen. He can anyways.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. And then we got Kyle Early, who battle on the home front. All right, he's got multiple companies, and he's got Barrage Coffee, and they've decided to partner up with us as well because we share the same mission. Our mission is to curb the suicide rate. We understand that we can't stop it completely, but if we can get in here and engage with people and share our stories and promote veteran-owned businesses and all that stuff, then hopefully we can make a dent in it and get it down below the national average. So that's really what we're striving for. I don't think I forgot any of the sponsors, but yeah, go to barragecoffee.com, go to gruntworkscoffee.com, go to what's the other one? Black Rifle. All right, they're all veteran-owned. All right, support veteran-owned companies. Who's not veteran-owned? Grunt Style. All right, fuck them. Don't buy their stuff anymore. All right, get rid of them. All right,
bunch of civilians.
Gruntworks Clothing. We got Veteran Trash Talk. Shop.veterantrashtalk.com. All right, put in the code VTTGW during the show. Get yourself a discount. Okay. I have said enough, but I have to say one more thing. All right, so obviously, a lot of things have been happening to where the media blows it up. They got to sell it, and we lost some service members the other day, and if you're one of those people that right away tried to politicize it, okay, you're a bad human being, all right. And if you're a veteran in doing it, then again, you're not being the steward of the profession that we ask of you as veterans, because we are a minority. So when you act like an asshole, all right, we're all assholes, all right. So like now, our opinion means nothing because you're politicizing a tragic event. And we talked about it last week about some death all death is sad, but not all death is tragic. Okay. This death was tragic. And these Marines that lost their lives, I believe there was a corpsman as well, and I think an Army guy as well. And you know, they'll live in our hearts and our minds forever. That's how we honor them. And the one thing I told my family when they asked me about it, they asked me how I felt, you know, and it's like, gosh, that, you know, I could be a triggered pansy and you know, go off on them, but you know, I just explained to them, I go, those Marines, they answered a call that 99% of this woke country doesn't have the balls or the ovaries to do it. All right, like they were doing what they loved. They went and they answered the call. All right, and all of us on this screen right here, and probably a lot of you listening, all right, we've experienced loss, we've experienced explosions, we've experienced our battle buddies dying. All right, nobody wants it to happen. All right, they answered a call. And the way we honor them, all right, is through remembering them, all right, and doing the best that we can. Doing the best that we can to lift their names up and all that. Not all of them have been released, otherwise we'd probably do it. But so we're just gonna raise a glass to them. All right. And they'll never be forgotten as long as we talk about them. They'll never be forgotten as long as we remember them. So cheers to the Marines and to the soldier and the sailor that fell. And to their families. All right, like Bill Pearson, who's a guest host on here, he has the Gold Star Teen Adventures. All right, so you know that's going to come up again too. Some of these service members have kids. That's how we honor them. We remember their kids. All right, we take care of them. So go to Gold Star Teen Adventures and take care of them. Yeah, it's a little somber, but again, you know, it sucks. They answered a call. They were brave. They were warriors. Let's leave it at that. Okay, you guys can get your little political discussions later. So anyways, I get the privilege to turn it over to Buddy Beckwith. What you got, buddy? You got service?
Yeah. I'm good. See, look at that. So I didn't really, honestly, after everything that happened in Afghanistan this week, I didn't really have a real big honesty cap that I really wanted to talk about. I kind of, you know how you go through the stages of grief. I'm kind of at the speechless stage at this point with kind of everything that's going on. And I agree with you on a lot of things, Nick. And one of the things that I agree with you, we keep those guys and ladies that died this week. We keep their memory alive by remembering them and by, you know, taking care of their kids, taking care of their families, all that stuff. But at the same time, I think that I have also been disgusted by people that I know that have been politicizing this entire thing. And they're like, you know, it's a Republican thing. It's a Democrat thing. It's not a political situation. It is a complete debacle of a retrograde gone wrong that has been mismanaged, misplanned. And, you know, that being said, I think the way that we remember those soldiers and the soldiers that have fought and died in Afghanistan and Iraq is that we hold our government and our military accountable for their bad plan. We hold them accountable for allowing, we hold the State Department accountable for not thinking out a plan to retrograde that didn't cause what we see going down in Afghanistan. And then we ask for answers, or we demand answers. We demand for people to be held accountable for what they've done. Because if this was if something like this had happened because a sergeant or a staff sergeant or a captain or a major had made a mistake, they would be done. Their career would be over and they'd be blasted. But it's okay that it's a State Department official. It's okay that it's a president. It's okay that it's senators. It's okay. It's not okay for anybody to make a mistake that's this huge, that's going to have the historical significance that these mistakes are going to have, without holding them accountable without making sure that the mistakes are transparent and the reasons are transparent, and then making sure that we don't repeat these mistakes again. We said it a week or two ago. This is, when people ask how I feel about Afghanistan or what, like, hey, this is your first time? Because I felt all this when it was Iraq, 5 or 6, 7 years ago. I felt like we're talking about ISIS blowing shit up in Afghanistan. I felt like this when ISIS was blowing shit up in Iraq. And instead of demanding transparency and demanding to have answers, we just were like, yeah, whatever, we're going from there now. Well, now we're retrograding from a different place. We're making the same mistakes because we didn't demand for people to have an AAR of their own bullshit. Well, I think we demand this time that they do. And then we move on.
Yeah, but don't worry, because the majority, like I said, of the woke public that will never answer that call, there'll be a new season of The Bachelor coming out, or Bachelorette, and nobody will give a shit anymore. So
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So why do politicians have to care what happens to the military? The United States has done a tremendous job of separating the military from actual citizens. So it's like,
Nick,
no,
that was a perfect analogy of what's important and that sounds like sarcasm. That's truth.
It's true.
There'll be a fucking TV show that goes viral and no one will give a shit anymore. That's why we don't get so excited about it.
And again, they separate military from American citizen. Guess what, everybody? Everybody in the military, except for a couple who are working on it, are citizens. All right? Every single one of them. They pay taxes. Right? So like that blood that shed isn't, it's the military's blood. Like no, it's just Americans. Right? American citizens. But buddy, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. And the other thing that you were right about in your soapbox is that when veterans politicize it, we take away from the ability to get that transparency, get those answers, and to have to have it fixed so that the next war, it doesn't happen again. Because when we politicize it, then when we call for answers, they're like, well, you just want all of the Democrats' heads to roll. Like, that's not what I want. I don't give a shit if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican or you're independent or you believe in that the Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. I don't give a fuck. I just want for you to take accountability of your own actions, whether they were good, whether they were bad. You should have to take responsibility for the outcomes of your decisions. If the outcome of your decision was that we've got airports all over a foreign country that are crawling with people, we can't, we've got people trying to hitchhike on the side of airplanes. Well, why is that a thing? Why can't we control airports? Why can't we keep, what those airmen that were on that C-17 that had, Afghanis flapping around on the outside, they get to live with that the rest of their life. Why don't you get to live with the fact that you put them in that position for the rest of your life? I don't care what your political party is. You did that. You should have to answer for it. And if you're a general, you should have to answer for it. If you're from the State Department, you should have to answer for it. If you're some major that, if one thing that we should have learned from all of this is, not sending up the truth and messaging things to hire so that they think that what's going on the ground is not what actually is going on the ground. Like, that's where all this, kind of stems from. Anyway, that's all I got.
Joey, follow that shit up.
Yeah, no shit. It's going to be totally different, gentlemen, because here we go into the veteran side of the show. The two active guys have spoken. So, no, they usually keep it a little more active, heavy, and I let them. But I'm gonna go a little light, Nick. Is that cool? Can I do that?
We'll critique you. Don't worry.
Fantastic.
Joey, if you're gonna go light, are you gonna talk about how disappointed I am that Buddy didn't raise his beer as he's driving down when we did the toast?
Hey, guys,
for crying out loud,
for sure
buddy.
I was
You're
gonna
from Alabama.
Yeah, aren't you in Alabama right now? It's legal.
I'm not. First of all, there's no open container law in Tennessee,
laws down
so
there.
I thought for sure I was gonna see a whiskey in your hand.
Maybe some 10th Mountain Cordial. He really likes that shit. Don't put it around them. It'll go. It'll get gone.
Good plug there. Good plug there, Joe. Remember, 10th Mountain has cordial as well for the girl drinkers like Buddy. And you put in the code VTT.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of plugs,
Cowboys and me, by the way. Did you guys look that up? Cowboys invented cocktails. Let's do this.
Oh, fantastic. Hey,
who won, Cowboys or Cops?
Hey, since we're talking about plugs, all right, can I have the stand for a moment?
Yeah, you asked us a question, Joe.
Are you going to get?
Are we not allowed to answer? Are we not allowed to answer questions when you ask questions?
Are you going to go get plugs for that hairline?
You shouldn't have started it with a question. But all right, yeah.
All right. All right. So, Happy Place Hemp sent me a fantastic box and an array of CBD and gummies and all this other stuff. And Nick said, give it a try. So I'm going to tell you right now, this muscle rub, and I'll give you a little bit of my background when I'm done with this. But this muscle rub is the real deal. It's no joke. I swear to God. Nick's got a battery in his ass. He knows what pain is. I've got fucking exactly. Yeah. Little legitimate. Yeah. Buddy, wrong answer. I've got herniated discs in my back. We all know what pain is. I've had multiple shoulder separations.
What muscle were you rubbing with it? Was it for the chlamydia?
How is it that I get inside your ears like that? How do I live in your head in that way? I don't understand.
Rent free.
It's just like, really? That's what you're fantasizing about? I feel bad for him. I thought he was burning it down and having fun with his Tinder for us, but I don't. That's just me. Anyways, that place, that stuff is legit. And we talked about it last night, Nick, and you touched on a point. These guys that have been hooked on opioids, okay? It's like the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about. Anytime any one of us have gotten jacked up, you know you got some kind of narcotic in the Army. If you served when we did. I mean, shit, I got 60 oxycodones for my wisdom teeth and a refill, all right? So think about that. You're starting these kids from the middle of nowhere on a medication saying, hey, you know, this dude's in E3, you're going to do what you're told. Take it. The doctor said take it. He's going to take it like a good soldier, refill that bottle, and what no one tells him is you are now an addict. Well, I mean, excuse me, you're now addicted. Now, whether you turn into a full-blown addict, that's on you, but your system is addicted to it. And so the epidemic with opioids, I believe the VA and the Army had a huge part in it. And I'm not here to shit on either one of them, all right? The people that work in those in the healthcare community are saints, and they work on a shoestring budget. And they're not the VA claims department, two different animals. But what I'm saying is, you know, I was hooked on those for 6 years. 6 years, I took them, and I can't tell you how many people I fucking lied to about it, but man, I was hooked deep. And I came off them cold turkey because I wanted to remember what it felt like. And I tell you what, it was no joke. And if I didn't have my wife there with me, I don't, you know, it would have been bad. Let's put it that way. I know pain, all right? I know that shit does nothing for your pain. It actually lies to you. But all these guys that are worried about coming off stuff like that, stuff like this can actually help. It's holistic. It doesn't fuck up your liver or turn you into an addict or make you have no appetite or sleep funny or sweat or, you know, all the shit opioids make you do. I know I was mean as a fucking rattlesnake when I ran out. And, man, if I don't talk about that shit, I'm wasting that time of my life. People need to know. You know, don't think we've got it all figured out because we're sitting here doing a podcast. Bullshit. We call it a dumpster fire for a reason. We say we understand what you're going through for a reason because we've been through it, something similar to it, or we know a guy who's been through it, and we've got a lot of people that can help. The more people we bring in, the bigger this family is going to be because everybody that's come in has been happy they did. And the amount of people we've helped so far, it's been worth it if I do it for 20 years. The amount of people that have said, hey, this saved my life, and I'm not blowing smoke. That really did happen several times. And to me, that's, you know, that's it. But this opioid thing has a huge part in it. Mix that with PTSD and drinking, and it is a powder keg waiting to go off.
Yep.
It is a very dangerous thing. And being a paratrooper or being a RI like Nick or being a Green Beret like Buddy.
Special Forces diver.
Excuse me, diver. No.
That's only that's just lean out right now.
You're gonna do it. What I'm saying is you're gonna do it your way. you're gonna do it your way. You listen, and all of a sudden 2 stops working, you're on 4. 4 didn't kill you, and then it stops working, you're on 6. Like, bro, it was bad, and it gets bad. So the guys that are trying to come off it, this holistic stuff is no joke. The only reason that you think it's bullshit is because you still have those opioids talking to you, just like I did. I thought that shit, there's no freaking way that works. Get off of them. Let your body start feeling feelings again and try this shit because it works and it's healthy for you. Next topic, I got to give these guys some love, Nick. Operation Injured Soldier, you're absolutely incredible. This is the gift they gave out to every veteran at the Muskie Invitational on Monday.
Where's mine, Joe?
Well, you weren't there. They only gave them out to participants.
Did you get a package? Did you get a package from Happy Place Ed?
Do you want me to send you mine? I'll send you mine tomorrow.
I mean, I would have asked for one. That's what I did.
I got 3 extra lunches for my boat. But so no, they put us up at MGM Grand for the night, and me and Kevin will have plenty of videos coming from that. He did walk around MGM Grand in Detroit in a kilt and a Trigger Pansy t-shirt. And he walked up to 2 security guards from Detroit and did a full Scottish accent and said he was lost. Beautiful. The video's coming out. A little bit sound quality because the casino was loud, so we're working on it. But anyways, Operation Injured Soldier, they put you up at MGM Grand. The next day, we go to Grosse Pointe Yacht Club in Grosse Pointe, Michigan on Lake St. Clair. And we go muskie fishing. And they call that the fish of 1,000 casts for a reason, because we went for 6 hours, hooked 6 muskie, and got 1 in the boat. They are no joke. You got to work for it. And they're big fish. So a lot of fun. Then they brought us back and fed us a fillet. And I'll tell you, I know I don't want to tread back to where we were since I said I'd make it light, but you should have seen the veteran community about Afghanistan. Oh my. You guys are active, it's I know you've been around veterans, and I'm not saying you haven't, but in a room full of them where that's all it was, dude, they're like, these guys are like in tears talking about it. It's very serious to them. They still hold that very near and dear to their heart. It's I don't know, man. To me, I was so glad I went there because that atmosphere was incredible. I'll definitely try it again. It's the first time I've ever done this is free just because you serve type thing ever. So I'd love to do it again just for the community and the group of guys around. I handed out 200 business cards. It's the contacts there are incredible. The amount of money they raise to do these events is insane, and because they spare no expense. It was just an unbelievable day. And Operation Injured Soldier and Juliana Carabelli, if you see this, you are an absolute saint. It was awesome. Thank you guys so much. Nick, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
All right. Hey, you got a comment from Ariana saying thank you for talking the truth about the opioids in the VA. It was pretty bad. Yeah.
Sure.
When I hurt my back, the PA said, "Do you want to stay in the Army?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, then I'm not going to give you an MRI." I was like, "Okay, that sounds like solid logic, whatever." And because I couldn't stand up and move, but I went 4 years with a broken back. And I jumped 30 more times, went to Afghanistan, went to Iraq again, deadlifting, squats, all that stuff. My back was broken. And when they finally MRI'd it, they were like, "Where are you? Don't move." And I was like, "What?" And so they pumped me. They were pumping me a Valium. I'm like, I finally had a good PA, a special forces one buddy down there in Florida. And he was like, "That's like heroin, right? They got to get you off that shit." And I was like, "Oh, okay." It's like,
what were they giving you? Liquid what?
Valium. They were just pumping values down me, It's like whatever. But it is what it is. But yeah, you got to eventually get off of it, and CBD will help for sure. And Joe brought up about the community, how we're trying to get bigger, and that's a good segue into. Hey, we have a video to play. We'll play it in a second, and it's going to explain what our guest Nick Powers does with Warfighter Scuba. Did I say that right?
Oh yeah,
because I've been drinking for 2 days straight, so I got to make sure.
Easily the coolest.
It's 2 words.
Name.
I know English is hard for you Army guys, but it's only 2 words. It's not difficult.
Oh,
yeah, we don't really need to know.
Not a huge deal, but that's just a nickname. He can't even say combat diver. Am I pronouncing combat diver correctly?
Combat Diver Foundation. And by the way, buddy, I actually created.
Nick, why didn't you tell them that this is old hat to Buddy? Respect his fucking authority.
Yeah, I created a word, a foundationer. So at least Lino's a foundationer, and you are not, buddy. So we have a combat diver foundationer. He's here as well. But
put that on your resume, Lino.
We're a weird company.
Sounds like a retirement community, man. I'm a little bit nervous about that.
Yeah, we're a weird bunch here at Veteran Trash Talk because we're not a nonprofit. All right, we are a business that wants to make money, but none of us give a shit about money. So it's really weird. We really don't care if we make any. We have a blast every Saturday. This is my therapy. Every day on the group, on the page, we have people making connections and, finding some old battle buddies, sharing some stories. And that's really what's important to us. So we don't care. But if you want to buy our stuff, that's cool. Just go to our store and get it. We make like $1 a shirt. So not a big, and then we get half of that to stop soldier suicide. So not a big deal. Anyways, we do want to promote the nonprofits though. We want to promote the shit out of them because not only is your physical health with opioids and exercise, all that stuff very extremely important, right? Also your mental health and being able to get around your battles and do things, to experience new things and all this stuff. And it's really weird that this guy started this because he didn't think he'd be capable, right? So you got he's a Marine. I think you were Marine 42 Alpha in the Army. That's a pack clerk. Right. Yeah. So you really went for the hard charger stuff, and it was like,
Goddamn right I did.
I really want to process lead forms.
How many times did you fix bayonets?
Until 2000.
We did a few times at boot camp. That's about it though.
Okay.
It's only because you weren't in Kabul this week.
I guess I've heard some stories.
Yeah. And he decided, he saw a bunch of Army guys one time just training and fighting, and he was like, damn, dude, I got to raise it up a little bit. And the Marine Corps wouldn't let him. This is a true story. Marine Corps wouldn't let him transition. So he had to get out and then contract. So he went to be a contractor. And that way he kind of could, when he looked at himself in the mirror, when he changes his profile picture to his Marine uniform on Veterans Day, he really, at least now he can be like, yeah, I fired my gun a few times. Might not have been as a Marine, but you got a little bit. You got a little bit one up on the other. But he started.
Question.
Yeah.
It's always if he fired his gun after going to Marine basic training, it was always as a Marine. Because once you're a Marine, you're always a Marine.
Yeah. No former Marines. But hey, Chris, if you want to roll that video of Warfighter Scuba, 2 words, no big deal, buddy. All right. We'll
Thank
let
you
the
for
audience.
Getting that right.
Yeah, we'll let the audience get. I'm pretty sure I'm 100% right now. But as the video,
I've heard no dings. Judges haven't dinged you yet.
I don't want to screw him up. So if you're watching right now, he's got some guys swimming in the water. This is what Buddy used to do down in Florida. So pretty much when he went to scuba when it was easy.
Yeah, in fact, I graduated the first easy class.
Army Sergeant Ryan Newell. I served with
that's my claim to fame.
Deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq. 2008, January 7th, we were hit by 100-pound segment of homemade explosives. I was the only survivor to last out of our truck. Medevac never brought us in, so we had to drive back to the 4th Surgical Team. And I thank them for being here today to be able to do this, to be able to join Warfighter Scuba and help continue to push forward in adventures in life. I was scrolling through my VA newsletters one day and an article popped up about scuba diving in Rotan, wounded warriors. Hey, what better to get guys that have the same kind of injuries or other injuries that come together and want to do the same sport or had a passion to do it. And next thing you know, I get a call from Nick saying, hey, can you make it down here? We've got room for you. Take you under the water.
Put your money on the backseat. Don't give a hell paparazzi, baby. You know they always trying to get me. $1 million looking icy. I can make it rain on you.
So my thoughts on scuba were that just being under the water and seeing the wildlife and the nature under there, to be able to meditate, help clear my mind, just be comfortable, just float, see what's under the water. I mean, it's a whole nother world to explore. Some of the best part of it was being able to float at 45 feet and see the ocean bottom down there, you know, even further down than what we were diving at. seeing the reef and the different kind of fish that you have, your scorpion fish, your black parrot, midnight parrotfish, you know, the eels, the barracudas, the groupers, you name it. It's just the lobsters. It was amazing just to see them in their natural habitat, and they don't mess with you, and you just get to watch and meditate. Sometimes just float and not even do anything. Just it clears the mind. It helps every day go by. The aha moment is just when you feel that weightlessness, when you're just down there and everything's just so surreal. You hear noises way off in the distance, and you don't know if they're whales or dolphins, whatever they are. Just your mind doesn't even think about anything. It just in the moment. The favorite moment of this week has been the night dive. To be able to see so much that comes out in the ocean at night, and definitely the sound. The sound was way more intense at night than it was during the day. I would absolutely recommend anybody that is wounded, has the issues that they want to try to fight through and push through adversity, give Nick a holler with Warfighter Scuba and get down here. It's something that's been amazing to us. We've done a whole week of diving, and it's been the best meditation that I've had in years.
All right, what's up? Hey, welcome back. I hope you liked the video. Again, we didn't think the guy was capable of doing it just based off of his record, but he did it, and he helps out vets, and he's phenomenal. Nick Powers, welcome to the show. Welcome to the dumpster fire. And talk about your service, talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about, and tell us how to send you money.
It's kind of hard to follow up with everybody. First off, yeah, Marine POG, 03 to 07, combat deployment to Haditha, Iraq in 2006 with 3rd Battalion, 3rd Marines. After being on a Marine Security Force detachment in 2005, yes. I did everything I possibly could to get out of being a POG. I was called a shitbag for it, and my punishment was basically to go play grunt for a little bit. Got what I wanted, which basically got me into the contracting realm afterwards. They tried to get me to extend to go to Afghanistan. I told them to pretty much kiss my ass. I was done with the politics and the bullshit in the Marine Corps. I'm not a yes man. My mouth got me in a lot of trouble. I like to question things. I
was in a gay porn call. My mouth got me in trouble.
I was in a few of those too in the Marine Corps. I mean, we all know that. Yeah, I went contracted. The funny thing is I actually had to protect Army personnel. So, you know, the whole thing about seeing the Army guys do what you said made me want to contract. I was actually protecting you guys. So
are you defending yourself from my intro? I mean, are you defending yourself from my intro? Did my intro get you? Did my intro get you?
The Army as a rifleman. We don't call everybody a rifleman. Like, so
thank you for your service.
You're welcome for my service. But yeah, that was a short-lived stint. But man, you know, like you guys said, I've got 6 blown discs in my back. My big thing that I went to was alcohol significantly. Big problem with it. And then,
10 Mountain Bourbon.
Yeah.
But also mixing in the opioids with that. I mean, I remember being in the barracks, like literally blowing lines of Oxycontin from guys who just got the wisdom teeth out or whatever while we're hammered.
I'm glad you clarified that as quickly as you did there, Nick.
Yeah.
I didn't know where you were going with blowing lines.
Actually,
I second that. I was so glad that he scurried out of the territory that I thought he just waded into.
Cocaine would have been better. Cocaine would have been better for him, actually. So,
not a huge deal. But
it's a hell of a drug.
How about that carpal tunnel, though, bro? I bet that shit was bad.
I was gonna say,
man, I can't get my wrists to stop.
Have you seen his hands all show, buddy? I haven't seen his hands yet. I mean, he's obviously, you're making fun of his disability. That's not very cool, buddy. I mean,
anyway, you know, the transition out was a shit show, obviously. And then touching on obviously the tragic situation in Afghanistan this week, like what Buddy was saying earlier, you know, I went through all this shit when ISIS came out. You know, when Iraq was basically crumbling. You know, I went through the ups and downs, the anger, the sadness, the questioning, like, okay, why did my friends die? It should have been me. You know, that guilt came back, kind of thing. And
it's the absolute
I think
worst part of it.
Yeah, you know, I think that's what a lot of these guys. I never went to Afghanistan, but it seemed, you know, these guys are now having to process that, and
yeah, we could tell.
The hardest thing, you know, I agree, not trying to politicize it. And when Fox had me on because of a post I made about ISIS. They wanted me to go on and bash Obama at the time. And I told them straight out, this is not political. You know, this is a complete failure on so many parts, allowing this organization to sprout up. And they're like, no, you need
the post.
You need to, you could just Google my name and you'll see it. It's a Marine veteran.
I'm kind of a big deal here.
You look it up, bitch.
No,
just you just said to me.
Just Google me. All right.
No. Anyway,
Google me.
It was like
time.
fucking 8 years ago. Fox News hoarded me around for a while. I was a good talking head for them for the minute. You know, they basically used me because, this Marine who has experience throughout Iraq. You know, he's basically talking shit about the policies or whatever.
So
and,
did
you
do a Bill O'Reilly? And it just when the prompter was. Did you do a Bill O'Reilly like in the camera?
No.
Like, go live.
I was with Judge
Lance Corporal.
Megan Kelly, Fox and Friends. I never got on O'Reilly, but you know, it was fucking interesting. All right.
I know. I want to hear more about it.
It was. I mean, it was weird. Like, you know, I was 27, 28 at the time. You know, and you know, everybody's talking shit. Well, what does this fuck corporal from the Marine Corps know about fucking policy? Like, okay,
expert.
Did you ever fucking step foot in that country? Do you have any idea what goes on there? Like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, you're such a sideline motherfucker. It's ridiculous. And, you know, that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing a lot of pissed off Americans that are rightfully so pissed off, but they're trying to politicize it, which again makes any kind of argument of holding somebody fucking accountable out the window. I mean, I think Buddy said it. If I did this shit as a corporal, you know, I'd be fucking hanging from a noose somewhere, getting fucking basically set on fire for everybody to say, okay, it was Corporal Powers' fault. Here you go. You know,
your life would be ruined.
Correct. But these generals, these politicians, you know, who's looking at fucking Mattis right now? I mean, he's one of the architects for the 20-year shenanigans going on in Afghanistan. Who's looking at Miley? Like, why are these guys not being held accountable for the bullshit that's been going on for 20 years? That's my question. You know, it's always past the buck.
Because of that level.
Here's a question. Hold on, for real though. Here's a real question. What was the mission in Afghanistan?
Combat diver.
What was it? Was it
said by
because
combat
at first it was to find the people responsible for 9/11.
Right.
We ended up doing that. Then it was, you know, we took over a country. It was to make them be able to hold their own and to pull their own security and to not let the Taliban come back in.
Which they've never been able to do.
But we've always said, well, yeah, they're good because it was easier to bullshit people.
Yep.
And then go out and do the mission ourselves than to let them do it and let them fuck it up and then teach them from there. Because so the thing is, we've proven that we've fucking failed miserably for the last 20 years of teaching these people how to fucking protect themselves when they got taken over in 4 fucking days.
Yep.
But okay, so who was in charge of making that shit happen and fucking making sure that the mission was getting done? Because we fucking failed. We failed the mission. At the end of the day,
at that point, isn't a little bit of it,
themselves.
buddy? At that point, isn't it a little bit of you can lead a horse to water theory? Like I don't think I ever got to. Well, I don't think I ever got to anybody that we worked with that was from there. I don't think they've like, dude. If they adopt our culture, and they're a fucking pariah. I'll say it.
Hold on.
I mean, they're excluded, and that's the last decision they get to make.
I'm gonna go back a couple hundred years, and I'm gonna talk about one of the founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, who said, "This is a new form of government, and there's going to be a lot of countries that won't understand it because they're not educated enough." And that was his pitch to all the other racist people in the country at the time, the new country that says, "We have to educate everyone in this country. We have to educate slaves. We have to educate Indians. All right, we have to educate everybody. And we can't just teach theology and law. We have to teach the arts, right? We got to teach math, science, all this kind of stuff." And he predicted that. And it's still true today. There's countries that it's going to take them hundreds of years to even understand what democracy is, to even understand to have a conversation with somebody other than just blow their fucking house up. right?
That's what I'm talking about. That's what
I don't
I'm
think
talking
half
about,
of our population truly understands what
Well,
democracy
that's because
is. You know what I mean?
we
Like,
took over. That's because we took
That's
over
a wonderful
education.
point, because that's
The
exactly
government
true.
took over the education
100%.
system,
right.
so it's like
it's a propaganda machine now of bullshit and indoctrination. I mean, it's absurd. Like the anyway. Sorry, not
No,
making
no.
Oh, this is a dumpster fire.
We get triggered. We get triggered. That's all right.
Back to
I think Lito's jumping at the bit. Hey, he's an actual foundationer.
Yeah, no,
he's a combat veteran
I
foundationer. All right, so let him.
he's an actual combat. He's a foundationer.
Retired guy.
Don't let Lito.
Yeah, hey Joe. I mean, there's something to be said for that.
That was Buddy that wouldn't shut up. I don't want to take credit for that.
No. You made the point about leading the horse to water because
thank you.
I was in Iraq in 06, and then
He's
again
about to hit you.
No, and then we all watched what happened in Iraq in 2014. I went back as a civilian in 2016, and I saw the Battle of Mosul, and it was a completely different game. And it was because at a certain point we made the decision that we can't do this for them. And in 2016, the Iraqi army planned and executed the Battle of Mosul, and it worked. And so I said, all right, well, what changed here? And it's really about the will to achieve the goal there. I mean, that obviously isn't in place in Afghanistan. I'm not a vet of Afghanistan either, so I kind of stay quiet about it. But that's the case. And I saw the same thing in Thailand, man. We trained them in raid ambush recon for 40 years, and they never seemed to get it right. And then in 2012, I went there for an exercise. They decided they wanted to make good with the president, put on an amazing exercise that we would have been hard pressed to put together. But it's all about that horse wanting to drink.
That's what I was about to hit you with.
Well, Lino, I'll hit you with this. I'll hit you with another thing. And
stop
what
hitting our
tool are you
guests.
using? What tool are you using to get them to drink said water, though? You know what I mean?
No, I'm not excusing
Joe,
the failures. Yeah, we certainly
no,
there's definitely failures.
So just so you're tracking the background, Joe and Joe, Nick, and another Nick at this point are from conventional units that are there to do conventional units. I've been in both. I was in a conventional unit for 15 years before I became an SF guy. Conventional units are there to find, fix, and destroy the enemy. That's their job. That's what that's what they do, and they do it great.
Yeah,
Peer to peer. And I'll quote the great Andy Marshall from Fifth Group, who was there for both the Iraq and the Afghani invasion. We went to Afghanistan with 200 people, took over the whole fucking country. We added 20,000 conventional forces, and we've been bogged down ever since. It's not a conventional fight, but it's a fight that you have to have patience in order to win. You can't go there and just expect that it's going to happen overnight. The conventional guys are there to do conventional things. Make blood grow from grass and fucking God loves the infantry because the sky's blue and all the other bullshit that conventional guys do. And they do it with fucking violence of action, and they do it with fucking vigor. And it's an amazing thing to watch. But if you're using it in the wrong context with the wrong people, you're not achieving the effect that you want to achieve. You need people that are there that wear crazy green hats and spend years going to class and learning about culture, learning about language, and go there and decide that they want to be there to work within the culture that they're already there to make the best effect happen. That's where that occurs. But if you've got a bunch of and Nick, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. When you saw when the 82nd was working with a quote unquote partner force, who did they send over there to work with them? Was it you? Was it Nick and Joe, the two hard chargers, or was it the PT failure pieces of shit that they didn't want out on patrol with everybody else because they were a liability that they sent over there? That's who they sent. So what do you expect them to be able to protect themselves? But you got fucking a generation of soldiers that were trained by a piece of shit that couldn't fucking pass a PT test, that couldn't shoot his gun and fucking just ran his fucking mouth, and now they're having to put foot to ass, and they can't do it because they weren't trained by anybody that had any clout. Now, when you talk about Mosul, those guys were trained by group.
Yeah.
The guys that went back there and put that battle plan together, those are all guys that had, like, they've been putting foot to ass for 20 years, and they're like, fuck it, you're not going to take our shit. We're going to put together a bunch of people and we're going to go at it. But I watched, when I was in the 82nd, I watched us send artillery guys that were 300 pounds and couldn't pass a PT test go over to train Iraqis.
Yeah, to be on a MIPA team.
Yeah, and then bitch, whine, and moan about
Nick,
how
isn't that the team that was out with us the night I got hit? There was a bunch of E6s and majors.
Exactly. Yeah,
I got a great hey Nick. Let me tell this story real quick. The night I got hit, right? Nick will comment on it, and that's okay. I'm in the truck,
cried like a baby.
Switched out of the gun into the driver's seat. The driver dismounted, back seat, hopped up in the gun. Okay, so it was perfectly executed. We already pressure dressed the arm. It was good. I was in the driver's seat like this, my right arm. Nick and them dismounted and went and did what they did. 5 minutes after those guys fucking dismounted, this dude comes running up, opens like something out of a fucking movie, opens the shotgun door and jumps in. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? It was the Nippet team medic. He was like, who's been hitting this truck? And so it was either Paris. I think it was Paris was up there. And he was like the gunner. And he was like, let me check you out to the gunner. And I'm like, I was the gunner when I got hit. I already pressure dressed the wound. And he goes, you guys are fucking crazy, man. It took me 5 minutes before I could even get out of the truck. I pissed myself. It was like the 4th of July back there, man. I just popped my cherry. Don't tell anybody. So I'm not going to use his name, but that is exactly what fucking happened. And we were dying laughing. He was like, I just popped my combat cherry, man. I pissed my pants. It took me this long to get up to the truck.
Now
that's bravery in that honesty, man. That's cool. I'm okay with that guy.
Hey, medics are always crazy like that. They'll tell you the truth.
Well, listen, but Nick said a comment about the Nippet team, like, yeah, those guys. Okay, because why it's funny is because if you knew our fucking medics, they were there every step of the way. Doc Esser, Squires, they were Fuller, were fucking for everything right there along with us. Awesome. Unbelievable team of combat medics. They could not have been better. And to see one's kind of like scared in combat, it just makes you laugh. Because remember there was a sniper in town that kept popping medics.
Yep.
He got 2 of them, but he didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Doc Squires actually, his muzzle flash got hit and it went up in his face and hit his neck. But anyways, that's how tough our fucking medics were, because they patrol with us every second of everything.
Yeah. Again, with that deployment, when we were in Samara, when Buddy was doing salsa dancing at with that big ass base he was at, Spiker. But
Spiker, I got so good at salsa dancing, bro. I still use it on Tinder.
While we were in a patrol base doing all the fighting
at the Balad Yacht Club.
Yeah, we had a 10th group attached to us, and you know, when that police station got blown up and 40 IPs got killed, they tried to overrun us. That was a bad idea. You don't try to overrun paratroopers. We just kill all of you. So, we ended up killing all of them. But then that 10th group brought down guys from Tikrit. They're like, no, we'll bring in a battalion of actual trained guys.
I still say that probably saved at least 5 lives. We were so fucking strung out. We were going 20-hour shifts. 4 hours
day
off,
on, fighting, and we had no barrier between us.
We were fighting with each other. We were fucking losing our minds, man. And then when they came back with those guys, I swear to God, that was like one of the biggest sighs of relief, because I was in BP North when they did it.
And those guys,
was that in late 06?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had relieved us. We were there in early 06, and they came in and replaced us, because we had all the teams in Tikrit and Samara also. So we were there for when the Golden Moss blew up.
Yeah, I was smoking a cigarette when it blew up 1,000 meters away. That's not I walked around the corner. I'm like, well, the mosque is gone. See you later. It's crazy. Yeah, we definitely chewed the same dirt. Let's get back to you, Nick, real quick, because we are going to start running out of time. We can keep going for a little bit, obviously, because Lino's still got to talk a little bit. What is your organization? What do you do?
So basically, we bring combat wounded NATO forces. I mean, we'll bring anybody who's worked with us, because I know, the United States isn't the only people that got injured in Iraq or Afghanistan. So that's kind of what makes us a little bit different, is we're not just U.S. But outside of that, we bring them down to the Caribbean and we do scuba therapy. We get them under the water as much as possible throughout a week trip. Everything's covered. The only stipulation that we have is obviously alcohol. There's no drinking and diving. It's very dangerous. So we just avoid it, you know. But you know, if somebody wants to have a beer at
Nick's
night,
waving you off, Nick.
Yeah, no, if somebody wants to have a beer at night with dinner,
down.
they can go for it. Organization won't pay for any of it. But you know, it's big boy rules. I'm not, you know, just because I sobered up and dealt with my demons doesn't mean I'm going to be, you know, that holier than thou, like, oh, nobody can drink kind of thing. Now, if it starts becoming a medical situation, yes, I will be a dickhead. Hey, there's no fucking booze until we're done for the day. But outside of that, we've been running since about 2017. We're a new organization. We're very small. My family and I, we moved down to Roatan in 2016, and that's kind of where I had the idea. I started getting back into scuba. Helped me get through a lot of my bullshit that I was basically carrying myself with my alcoholism, and had the idea to start this organization. And we've had 28 veterans come through so far. It's been an absolute amazing journey. You know, we're changing lives. I mean, the picture behind me is my boyfriend Jay. Wrong side. You know, he's missing his right leg. He's blown up in Iraq. He's part of Black Rifle Coffee. Dude's awesome. He's come down a few times. You saw Ryan, double amputee. He lost his legs in Afghanistan. You know, we're growing a family basically. That's kind of what makes us different as well. And you know, if we do blow up and be a huge organization, I'm going to make sure that sticks. Is everybody who comes through, we always are in communication with each other on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever. I mean, we're trying to organize events, which hopefully I can talk to Lino about. You know, I want to do like a schoolhouse event with the dive.
Don't steal my thunder and my segue, Nick.
Sorry.
Hey, Nick, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Yeah, it's your show, Joe.
I was trying to be polite. Thank you for ruining it. When you see these veterans come in, what do you see happening in that therapy? Like, do you see like a transformation, or what are the results? Do you see them kind of shift mentally? Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I figured you did, but I was wondering what's your take on that when you see that.
The funny thing, the really funny thing, I don't know if it's my sixth sense of humor or whatever, but you know, you got guys and gals who've been blown up, they've been shot at, they've been in firefights, you know, they got their combat action ribbons, they got their CIBs, whatever it is, right? And I can't tell you how many times, I'm not going to drop names, but after we've done the first few dives, they come up to me like, dude, I didn't want to tell you this in the beginning, but I was terrified of the water. And it's like, really? Like all the shit you've been through, you're afraid of going underwater. And now you see, like, no, it's, I mean, come on, man. You shouldn't be.
You're like 600th on the food chain when you get in the water. Like, you know, we're the top up here.
Yeah. Well, if we're ever lucky enough to see a shark, it's an amazing scenario. I mean, they're just absolutely phenomenal creatures in the water. Unfortunately, with my fins on, I'm like 11 feet long underwater. So I think I scare most of that shit off. In 5 years, I haven't seen a single shark on the west side of the island ever. And a lot of people make fun of me for that. But
they think he's like a squenched up octopi.
You are the shark.
Like squid.
Like, what the fuck is this thing?
It's an octopi. It's a one-legged octopus.
But as far as seeing that transformation, it's really fucking cool, man. Like, you know, everybody's nervous, right? Unless you got some kind of dive background or I don't know, proficient at snorkeling or swimming or whatever. But to see, especially amputees, to go underwater, to become weightless, just to see their eyes just fucking light up of holy shit, I'm free. Like there's no boundaries, you know, obviously depth is a boundary, but they can move around in a way that they are not able to on land. And that's one of the coolest things to see. As far as the mental transformation, you know, you can't take any bullshit with you underwater. You can try, might last for a minute or two, but when you start seeing all the shit going on, the only thing you can hear is your breathing, maybe a couple boat motors going by, the bubbles, like your brain just shuts off and you go into the present moment. And that's what I try and teach everybody is I had a life coach. She would cuss me out if I ever called her my therapist, but she would always tell me, she's like, you gotta learn to live in the present moment. There's no problems in the present moment. I'm like, that's the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard. How is there no problems in the present moment? I could be late on a bill. I could be going to jail. I could be dying. Like, well, but think about it. There's no problems in the present moment. Right now, is there a problem? Like, this doesn't make any sense. But you can actually kind of feel that when you go underwater, because in that moment, you literally have nothing that you need to worry about. You just enjoy.
So, Nick, can I ask you a question about that? So what's the therapeutic element? Is it just the diving itself? Is it the camaraderie, or do you guys also incorporate group sessions? Or, I mean, what's the program? How does it work?
Yeah,
like,
so
I come down there.
You get the physical therapy, right? I mean, and usually that's for guys with traumatic injuries, amputations. I mean, back injuries for me, when I'm in the water, I've got no problems. When I'm out of the water hauling tanks, I got problems. You know what I mean? But as far as mental goes, I mean, you're a diver. You know how pressure affects your body. You know how your body basically like changes. And that's why they're looking at, hyperbaric therapies now in hyperbaric chambers to actually treat illnesses, because your body reacts under pressure with the oxygen content. So you get a little bit there. And then as well, like what you're saying is we do have kind of like group sessions, right? I mean, we eat every meal together on the dive boats. I mean, basically the whole week is just, it's kind of like this, if you want to vent, you vent. If you want to open up and have heartfelt conversations, we open up and have heartfelt conversations. It's not like, okay, hey guys, we're done with the dives for today. Now I'm going to pull out the therapist couch and I need you to tell me your problems. It's a very organic situation where, we all get to just basically, I don't know, the barriers come down, we open up to each other. And like I said, we're growing a family. So, that's the hard part about the therapy side of it, is really, I guess, kind of proving that, but maintaining the relationships and maintaining trips where guys come back, or they're actually organizing dive trips throughout the United States or whatever, to keep them active in getting that pressure treatment, as well as being able to get out of your own head. That's really what we're trying to focus on. And that's what we're trying to grow. So, being down here in the Caribbean is fantastic and all. It's fucking expensive to get people down here. That's the problem. So, we just had Joseph Hahn. He's a DevGru guy. He's now one of our dive masters. He's out of Texas. And then we have Adam Gordon. He's I think he was 82nd actually, up in Ohio as one of our dive masters. And we're going to be able to start sending guys on trips with those two to Florida.
A lot of diving in the Erie Canal.
Right. Yeah. There's some great diving up in the Great Lakes.
Oh yeah. There's most wrecks up there.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. You got diving up there. We're planning on doing a North Carolina trip for that sunken U-boat. Actually in February or June, 2022.
That would be freaking crazy. I've always that's one of the things that I find so fascinating, is people get to dive on shipwrecks.
And we have a couple here, and it's always outside of like the night dive that we do, it's always the wreck dive. If I can run an advanced course, because I only have 7 days. So if they're very proficient those first 2 days in open water, we'll jump straight into advanced. We'll go down to 100 feet. And that's where all the wrecks are. They're about 100, 110. And I don't want to take somebody who's not proficient down there. A lot of shit can go wrong.
Yeah, so Joe can't go. But
I'd love to have all you guys down here. Check it out.
1 second. Hold on, Nick. I would love it. I tell you, Nick. Here's the thing, Joe. If you had grabbed your nuts earlier, you could have done a shipwreck dive, because the deep dive at the United States Army Combat Diver School is on a shipwreck. So.
Hey, Nick.
Mine was in the abyss, man. We couldn't even see the bottom.
So thank
you. Well, Lino, you went when it was hard. Buddy did it during the daytime.
That's right.
So Nick Powers, how do we get to your site? How do we donate to you? How do we find you?
We're on every platform. Instagram, YouTube is where we put all of our video content, but you can basically go to warfighterscuba.org. All of the social media links are right in the top bar. First thing you see, you can click those off. You can donate, warfighterscuba.org/donate. There's a huge red button. You can't miss it. You can run fundraisers on any social media platform for us. Average cost is anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per veteran. So, that's really our biggest, our hurdle is, airfare is absolutely insane, especially right now with this COVID bullshit. We have 2 resorts down here that actually donate all the rooms, which is fantastic. We're in Honduras and we're getting that kind of support for veterans. The The community down here absolutely loves when we have groups down. You know, it's like everybody's a little celebrity here. They always love hearing everybody's stories. They're very supportive. It's just an awesome environment. Plus, it's literally top 5, 10 dive destinations in the world.
Makes it down there.
Yeah, if I'm down there, I might become president of Honduras. It's
cheap. You can live like a king down here for like $2,500 a month, man.
Hey Nick.
Yeah.
The big Earl. Hey, remember the guest that we had on that with the from the French Foreign Legion that took sailboats down there?
Yes.
That maybe that could be like, maybe you could hook him up with that dude. Like, it's probably a lot cheaper to sail down there on a boat than it is to fly down.
Long ass trip.
Yeah, those guys. He has a different.
That's what they do. They get coffee.
They go on these long fucking trips and they go get coffee.
He has a different take he has a different take on veterans therapy, where he gives them guns and they go on the boat and they actually have to go in like some dangerous countries to get coffee, like dangerous parts. And so it's
Nick, what was the country that he said?
They were going to the wrong side of Costa Rica. He said, he goes, "There's a good side and then there's the side we're going to." So he's like,
is it Costa Rica or Dom Rep?
Yeah.
There's a pirate community down there right on the turn that my buddy who sails. He's like, dude, your chances of getting boarded here are like 90%.
Yeah, so that's what he was saying. But no, he was a great guest. Yeah, not just boats. But hey, we have Lino on, and hey, Lino, thanks for being an awesome guest host. And this is what we're trying to do with our community. Like I said, just the more people that we can put together to where, hey, I know a guy. So when somebody said Warfighter Scuba, I knew a combat diver, buddy, right? And a special forces diver, but I didn't know anybody who was, I was like, I know a guy who actually does stuff with it. So I gave Lino a call. Lino came on, trying to, pair some people up and make some connections happen. So Lino, take about 5 minutes, plug Combat Diver Foundation, because you're a foundationer, unlike Buddy. And then, what other kind of stuff? How's your situation going? And you guys talk dive stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, so at Combat Diver Foundation, we're actually younger than Warfighter Scuba. We established in 2018, so in nonprofit terms, it's like brand new. We're in our infancy. That said, we're growing really, really fast. The idea sort of catches fire. And what CDF does is we, unlike Nick's organization, we're not providing services to individual combat divers at this time. We're preserving the history of the community. So we're raising money in order to build a museum. And there's, that's a long journey, and there's going to be steps along the way. But we've got a number of programs that we do. We're about to unveil a virtual museum. We do fundraising. We've got a commemorative art program, and we've got a membership program. So it's a really good way for combat divers to network. And when I use that term combat divers, we haven't defined it precisely. And the reason we haven't is the moment you do that, you're going to leave a lot of people out. So just to use Key West as an example, we've had Air Force guys go to the Key West school. We've had cadets go to the school. We've had Marines. We've had foreign students. We've had Navy guys. So it's the moment we say, in order to be a combat diver, you had to have graduated from this one particular school. We're actually leaving out a lot of legit combat divers. So it's a broad definition. We have members in 8 countries, 7 of which are NATO allied nations, something like 45 US states, all across the Joint Soft Force. And we're even looking at law enforcement in some cases. So it's a Big Ten approach. Nick, running a nonprofit, people don't realize it's a business. It's a business like any other, and you have to make money in order to survive. The goal isn't to become rich necessarily; it's to achieve a mission. But you have to be profitable, or else you're just going to go away. And so I was kind of, I was checking out your website, Nick Powers, and I appreciate, everything you've done on the admin side to be transparent and to be a legitimate business, because it is. And I was laughing about the experience you had with the VA newsletter, because there was another organization.
Oh God, don't get me started, man.
Similar to yours that got featured in the VA newsletter, and I went and checked it out, and they weren't legit at all. And I just said, "Holy cow, man! This guy's website doesn't even work." And they're, but you are doing it right. So I appreciate, I as a veteran and a scuba diver and a guy who runs a nonprofit, appreciate that. It's not easy. There's a lot of requirements, and you've got to be transparent, because you've got to convince donors that their money's going where it's supposed to go.
And trying to do that from Honduras has been a fucking struggle.
Well, I feel you, because guess where I'm sitting?
You're where? No, you're not getting my money.
I'm in Guatemala, so I mean,
oh, okay.
you know, I may pop in since we're neighbors. You know, it's
hell yeah, come on down, man.
I once spent a summer in Guatemala picking beans.
It's all right, man. It's not a bad place to be. And
dude, Central America is fucking awesome. Like I have fallen in love with everything down here. It's I don't know.
I mean, what he's not saying is, you know, we're like separated by 70 miles, but it takes 15 hours to get there because the roads suck.
Yeah. The third world is different. Yep.
But, you know, going back to Combat Diver Foundation, just this weekend, we had our summer fundraiser. We call it the Deep Dive. When we did it the first time in 2019, there was like 12 of us sitting around looking at each other. This year, we maxed out the venue, and it's growing. And one of the reasons for that, and Nick Cottrell, you'll appreciate this, I think. Well, all of us will. You know, we instituted a memorial for 5K for a guy who committed suicide, John Worka from 7th Group. And that happened this year, and his family was very involved. And we did that in order to try to give back and to bring some awareness. And we think we did that. The Worka family was very appreciative, and it's therapeutic for them. And so, yeah, we're growing. We're trying to give back, both in the history realm and a little bit in the memorialization space. So it's a little bit, you know, parallels what Nick is doing down in Honduras, but we're also, you know, focusing on the history.
Well, yeah, that's stuff for the family of the fallen. You know, that could be the moment in their lives where they decide to make peace with things and have an understanding of it and close out a certain aspect of their grief through your program, you know. And I don't think that's even a stretch. I mean, I honestly believe that that's extremely therapeutic, and they want to be around people that were like their people, you know. They want like, you know, people that can tell them who they were like when they were in service, because a lot of families don't know as much until they're gone.
We try to give them a voice, you know. We did an interview with Erica and with one of our advisors who had his own journey with PTSD, and then at the event itself, Erica made a speech, and she's remarkably forthright about it. You know, she doesn't want us using all the euphemisms for suicide that the Army tends to use. She believes that's actually part of the problem. And so she said, yeah, John committed suicide. And, you know, you have to respect that approach. And if it helps her, great. I was going to mention one more thing, is that we did try to incorporate a dive into our events. You know, again, we're not focused on the diving itself, but being combat divers, it's good for donors to get in the water with some of us. We've been unable to organize it. And interestingly enough, COVID has hit the dive industry really hard, particularly in Florida. A lot of the organizations went under, so to speak, and they haven't recovered. And in fact, when we did our demonstration this weekend, the dive medical officer from the Navy said, look, we are this close to canceling your ability to do a dive because the ICUs aren't available. We've got a chamber, so if anybody gets bent or they get an AGE or something like that, a dive injury, we can press them, but we have to have an ICU available for the post chamber treatment, and they're not there. They're full of COVID patients. So it was a really interesting sort of couple of years in the dive industry.
That's interesting how that factors in through several different trades.
I tell you what, the words he used, and it really kind of opened my eyes a little bit. He said the backups to the backups to the backups are all taken, and I'm only keeping this alive by calling in favors.
For sure. I'm glad we got to hook you two guys up. Hopefully that you get to make that 15-hour, 70-mile drive to Honduras and you guys link up. If you guys do link up, make sure you take some pictures and send them our way so we can blast it out. Those of you watching, thank you for sticking around. Those of you who stayed with us, those of you who are new to the show watching it, we got Warfighter Scuba. Go donate money to them. All right. It's checked and verified through Muffin Fingers back there. We got our fake agent in the back. He used to be the baker, but he screwed up the live yesterday.
He
for
ran
UFC.
numbers. He was the baker. Now he's muffin fingers.
Now he's muffin fingers. All right. So, and if you're, we like Marines. We don't hate on them too much. All right. They're not quite the Air Force, but
fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, there's like a couple of infantry guys in the Marines are pretty cool, but then the rest of you, we don't, just like the Air Force.
Catch that blow dart, Nick.
Yeah. What do you really do here? Anyways, this is a trusted organization. We'll put our name on it. All right. Go
Thank you.
Help them out. All right. Same thing with Lino. Go to the Combat Diver Foundation. Somebody who's actually doing something with their combat diving skills, buddy. So go there and hook them up, because we know you didn't use it in combat. I mean, not a lot of. Let's see. Were you snorkeling in Syria? Or can we not talk about that? Can we not talk about that?
There was at least one. There was at least one ODA dive in Iraq that I'm tracking.
Yeah, I think we helped them out of the Tigris.
But hey, on a serious note, gentlemen, thank you for adding another phase to holistic therapy for these veterans. So it isn't some poison they got to pump in them. It's something that they can have, and they can have that forever. And if they want to do it again, it's a healthy thing to do. So thank you for introducing that. And I firmly believe that the more we get out of the box and do stuff like that, the more people will be able to help. So hats off to you, gentlemen. It's been one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Usually when they go a little longer, it's because they're fun. But I'll do a quick book of Earl, because I know there's at least 3 of you that stayed on to hear it. And
nobody fucking cares about you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. First of all, I'm going to start forwarding you the feedback we get, buddy. You'll like it. A lot of people like you.
He doesn't have good service.
Just so you know, I can start honoring 2 things at once. I didn't even think about it at the beginning of this show. I literally, because I just sold my house, and then I know I wasn't allowed in it, so I was like, fuck it, I can't go in the house.
Saying
anyway.
the word tent wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I moved to this other house, go to the outside of this other house. Anyway, the outside of this other house.
I got the backyard to myself, baby. Tent City.
So I bought myself. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Nick. MacBook.
Oh snap!
McBook.
It's McBook. Like
it was on the value menu.
I got it at McDonald's. Yeah. A quarter pounder and a computer.
And a McBook.
I was like, what
the promotional deal?
It's got. I had to wash all the special sauce off of it. Well,
Happy Meals are stepping their game up.
The special sauce was on it after I got on the internet for the first time. But still,
it's nice. It's nice being able to monitor both. But my book of Earl was short anyways, even though it always revolves around the same thing about being a trigger pansy. I went to my school board meeting because, again, those of you who have you're conspiracy theorists, you guys don't even understand that you can actually go places where they make decisions, and you can talk to them. You can actually go to town hall and talk to the city government. You can go on the record and say something, and maybe somebody listens.
But why, Nick? They already know what's going to happen.
They just want to go on Facebook and be like, "Oh, they're stealing all our water and trying to screw us." Well, actually, it's a macadamian farm, and they're huge, and they got 2 lawyers that come every meeting and take all the time up. So if you sign up,
doesn't that go back to the whole TV show too, taking their attention?
Exactly, something to just take their attention. So I go to the school board, right, and I was doing some research for my capstone for my master's, and talking about leadership decision making during COVID, whether it was based off of data and logic or whether it was based off of group thinking like what everybody else was doing. And El Paso was a prime example. Near Fort Bliss, we shut down when everybody else shut down. All right, and we looked like heroes, right? ICUs were empty. The spread was below pandemic level, all that stuff. And then we opened back up and everybody got hammered by it. Right? It literally was not in El Paso yet, right? There was no virus there yet. Onesies and twosies. So we shut down because everybody else shut down. That was a failure, right? And then now I have the factual part of my capstone, then I have the theory of what else is going to happen. And I brought up the fact that there was a 3% increase in childhood obesity just in 1 year, right? And it has doubled in the last 20 years because Americans are just getting fatter. But a 3% increase, and we're only at 15%. So 3%, our buddy can do the math of 15, all right? That's a significant spike in just 1 year, all right? Of that, 60% of those are from lower income families. All right. And that's where qualitative data comes into play. And it makes sense because
It's all qualitative.
yeah, quantitative is, what used to be only accepted data. And now they've started to introduce qualitative, right? And which is more of like emotion or why things happen, right? And trying to bring in those variables. So when you shut down schools and all these businesses and you send these kids home, right? If you're a privileged family, right, where you make some good money, you can handle those swings. All right, you can still get your kid in swim lessons. You can get your kid in basketball lessons. You can find something to do with them, right? Oh, and you might have a good enough job as a career where you can call your boss and be like, I got to work at home for the next 2 weeks. And the boss probably says yes, right?
You also live in neighborhoods where your kids can go outside without having to worry about getting shot.
Correct. So again, remember, that's not a quantitative data stat right there. That's a qualitative one. So Buddy gave you a good example of it, to where people don't think about those variables because you can't really measure it by data, right? Other than people being shot in your neighborhood, right? So you have all these lower income kids that went home for the whole first semester pretty much, right? And did their parents lose money because one of them had to quit their job when they were already struggling? All right, those are factors nobody paid attention to. Right now, these kids are coming this year into school. They're fatter and they have weaker immune systems. All right, the CDC already published an article, a peer-reviewed article last year that said kids need to be in school and they need to get bacteria on their hands. They need to get common colds. All right, all this stuff is everybody uses the CDC for whatever they want to use it for. Right, but like they released it, right, and they said get the kids in school. So
said differently, but said best by George Carlin. Please
right.
Continue.
So I go to the school board and I'm like, look, guys, and it was beautiful because right in the beginning, they were like, they was kind of custom. They were kind of scolding us for why they made decisions last year, and I was like, and they tried to blame it on the administrators. Well, the administrators give us the data and we make our decisions. So I got up there, I was like, look, man, no, you were elected to use your brain to make decisions for kids. Not for the community. We have a government for the community. You're the government for the kids. And I was like, to say, I'm not going to get into a mask, like, what should you wear a mask or not? We've already done that. What I'm going to, what is thing is, you can't tell a kid to wear a mask to stop the spread. All right, that's not a kid's responsibility. All right, that's not on the kids. All right, you don't want to, this is a war against the unhealthy, not a war against the unvaccinated, not a war against the unmasked. All right. We are making our kids targets for future viruses, for worse viruses. I mean, again, it's a theory because I just have the data from last year, but my theory is kids are now sick from the Delta variant, unlike they were not sick from the original virus because they have no freaking immune systems and they're fatter. We literally made them targets. Now, my girls who worked out, they swam, all that kind of stuff, they got it a couple months ago. They had a fever for a day, it was done. All right, because they have immune systems. We were able to, because we were privileged, we were able to, get them into the thing. Now, here's the flack you run into. Here's the point. I am getting really sick of people saying, what's your qualifications to make this assumption or this theory? Are you a doctor? It's like, why do I have to be a doctor to read data? Right? Why can't I just be an educated person? Going back to what Thomas Jefferson said, as long as we're educated and we can read shit, we can have a conversation. But now the conversation dies and you're like, oh, are you a doctor? It's like if I see a cop beating the shit out of somebody on the side of the road, right? I don't have to be a cop to think that maybe you shouldn't do that, right? I don't have to be a cop, right? And then also, if a cop shoots somebody because somebody's charging them with a knife and I have an opinion on it, well, what's your qualifications? You're not a cop.
I saw it.
And I'm educated, and I read the stats, like how many heart arrests happened, yada, yada, yada. So again, stop this bullshit. Book of Earl says stop the bullshit. All right? Stop the bullshit about what's your qualifications. Go get educated. Go to school whether you think school is cool or not. All right? Pick up a fucking book. All right? And make it, if you need to, hit me up on an email. I'll tell you what an actual primary source book is. All right? Like you can actually read some stuff that's validated and all that kind of, has all kinds of reviews, right? You can do all that kind of stuff. Don't read whatever the Q's putting out, even though some of it might be true. Who knows? So don't stop. Don't be a Shaner. Shaner, I know you're watching, all right? Stop the bullshit, okay? I don't have to be a doctor to read what COVID did in the city, Okay, I can read the data. I can read when they shut down. I can read when leaders made decisions and when they didn't. Right, and that's the book of Earl. So let's give Lino the second last word, and then we'll give Nick the last word. So Lino, what you got? Oh, you're muted. You're muted,
buddy.
Special forces every time.
I had a great time. Thanks for having me on, Nick. I think you're doing great things down there in Honduras. Keep it up. Contact me. Let's get together and do a Central America thing.
Hell yeah.
Connection. And Nick Powers, the Marine leave approver.
Hey, you don't want to piss me off because I'll just fucking cancel that shit, right?
Yeah, your leave is now charged double. Okay, you just took 40 days.
Yeah, no, this was awesome, guys. Thanks for having me. I know it was a last minute thing. I really do appreciate the time to spread the word of our organization, and thank you for having Lino on. We're definitely going to be sending some photos. I'm going to get him down here as soon as possible. I know the scuba industry's been pretty much fucked, but we're wide open here. So if you want to ever bring any of your guys down here, let me know. I can get you crazy deals on hotels and everything to make sure that you guys don't have to pay too much out of pocket. But yeah, no, this was fun. You guys are great, even though you're all Army. I mean, that's really my only complaint. But anytime you guys want to,
and infantry,
yeah, goddamn grunts.
I mean,
and we can read.
We don't have carpal tunnel.
Take my strong arm, child. Anyway, anytime you guys want to come down, you're more than welcome. I'll take y'all underwater if we can link up in the States somewhere. I'd love to shake your hands, and I think what you guys are doing is great.
Ooh,
I really
fist
appreciate
bumps,
it.
COVID fist bumps.
Really?
Yeah, no.
I'll fucking
Really?
hug you. I don't give a shit.
I'll lick your mouth, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So I hate to do this, but I got to steal your last word because I got to plug our sponsors and stores again.
Yeah.
So shop.veterantrashtalk.com. Go to gruntworksclothing.com. Put in the code VTTGW, get a discount. Go to Scuba Warfighter and go to Combat Diver Foundation. Donate money there. Do all that kind of stuff. Did I say it wrong again? Who cares? I've been drinking. Warfighter Scuba Warfighter.
There you go.
Just find it. All right, Nick Powers. Just Google, like you said earlier in the show. Just fucking Google me.
You look it up, bitch.
So yeah, if you just fucking Google me, you'll find it. Anyways, 10th Mountain Whiskey. Go ahead and put the VTT code. Go to Happy Place Hemp. VTT 25 off. All this stuff is on the screen. All right, just go back and look at it. And I didn't want to give a special shout out to Dave Trent before we go. Right. So the face man of VTT, the guy who usually opens and closes the show. All right, he bragged to me last week about how much of a boss he was and how great his immune system was and how everybody's getting sick. And I'm dominating this shit. All right. Well, Dave is sick and Dave is not dominating it right now. Dave is exactly how the big Earl was a couple weeks ago, laying in his bed like a big fucking baby. All right. That's exactly what I was doing with a sore throat, couldn't talk, body aches everywhere. Well, Dave, you ain't the boss you thought you were. We'll leave you on that. Love you guys. See you next week.
See ya.
Where do we turn to, veteran trash talk? Where do we turn to, veteran trash talk? Where do we turn to, veteran trash talk? Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. One day I'm okay, next day darkness. One day I'm okay, next day darkness. One day I'm okay, next day darkness. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bravely every morning. Past is the past, so be forgiven. The past is the past, so be forgiven. The past is the past, so be forgiven. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days, up we rises. Bad days, good days. days up, we rises bravely every morning. Let's fight, don't quit, call that in order. Let's fight, don't quit, call that in order. Let's fight, don't quit, call that in order. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days up, we rises. Bad days, good days up, we rises. Bad days, good days up, we rises. Bravely every morning. Raise a glass for those we're missing. Raise a glass for those we're missing. Raise a glass for those we're missing. Bravely every morning. Bad days, good days up, we rises. Bad days, good days up, we rises. Bad days, good days up, we rises. Bravely every morning. That's what we do in veteran trash talk. That's what we do in veteran trash talk. That's what we do in veteran trash talk. Bravely every